Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, senior staff members of our dear university, colleagues and prospective students, and welcome to the Faculty of Law Meet and Greet, brought to you by Nelson Mandela University. I am your master of this ceremony, Nicolene Ngumalo. Of course, our reputation as an institution precedes us. This is because of our boss and former president to you all of this lovely country, Nelson Mandela, more affectionately known as Madiba. So, because of that experience, myself and my colleagues are under special pressure this evening to wow you all. The objective, of course, of this evening is simple. We want to introduce ourselves to you, and hopefully, once you get to know the institution better, we can then successfully coerce you into joining us as a full-time student next year. But no pressure, of course. Also, an important point for you guys to note just before we kickstart our program is that you are welcome to type your questions or comments in our chat function, and they will be then addressed at the end of our program. So you can either write specific questions which are directed to individuals based on their presentation this evening, or these can be general questions. Now, to start our program off, I invite our acting dean, Dr. Lynn Biggs. She has expertise in legal skills, labor law, franchising law. This evening, Dr. Biggs will kick us off and tell us the significance behind why we are all gathered here this evening. So Dr. Biggs, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this webinar, and thank you for taking the time to hear a little bit more about the Faculty of Law at Nelson Mandela University. Thank you to Ms. Nicolene Ngumalo for the welcome message. I am Dr. Lynn Biggs, the Acting Dean of the Faculty, and I'm joined by Advocate Lindy Kutsia, the Acting Deputy Dean, Prof. Dion Erasmus, the Head of Department Criminal and Procedural Law, Ms. Tina Hokwana, a lecturer on the LLB program, Ms. Tinashe Mtetwa, one of our postgraduate students, and Mr. Tabang Mahlone, our Student Representative Council member for law. It is such a pleasure for us to engage with you this evening. We each plan to speak for about 5 minutes or a little bit longer to share our own perspectives about the faculty and to provide you with concrete information relating to our programs and the registration process. We then look forward to answering any questions you may have regarding any of our programs. As mentioned, please make use of the chat function to raise your questions. We at the faculty pride ourselves on delivering high quality law qualifications while making our own particular contribution to the legal landscape and shaping the next generation of legal practitioners. I want to highlight specific distinguishing features that I believe sets us apart and will encourage you to formalize your provisional acceptance and decide to join our faculty officially by registering in 2022. The faculty contributes to the institution's vision of being a dynamic African university, recognized for its leadership in generating cutting-edge knowledge for a sustainable future. We are pleased to be able to say that the faculty was one of the first 3 law schools in the country that received accreditation for the LLB qualification from the Council of Higher Education after the national review of the LLB program conducted in 2016 and 2017. Our faculty also boasts highly respected academic staff and committed support staff who combine to provide a top quality educational experience for law students. Our staff and students are committed not only to the values of the institution, but also the values of the Constitution, such as respect for diversity, excellence, ubuntu, and integrity. We understand that attending university is a big investment, as a parent or guardian providing a financial contribution, and as a prospective student deciding to dedicate your developmental years to study at university. Many hopes and dreams are attached to your admission and registration for one of our programs. You may have concerns or questions, especially during these turbulent, uncertain times. I will not deny that the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic shook the walls of higher education in 2020, and Nelson Mandela University was no exception. Of course, our immediate focus was on the safety of our staff and students and the general public. The closure of our campuses and assisting our students to return home was a priority. We were determined to keep the academic project alive and to move swiftly to online forms of interaction and education so that our students were not prejudiced in any way. I'm sure that we all thought that things would return to normal in 2021 and that we could host mask-to-mask lectures on campus, but this was not to be, and so we continued in the digital space. The Faculty of Law has risen to the challenges and grasped the opportunities presented to ensure that we deliver our programs with integrity and at a high standard in the virtual and online space. In this vein, we continuously strive to ensure that all the programs we offer are nationally, regionally, and globally contextually relevant and future-focused. We are mindful and respectful of the course of the coronavirus pandemic and the differing needs of our diverse student body, and we will remain agile, adaptable, and flexible amid the fluidity and uncertainty of the pandemic. Our faculty is committed to ensuring that our graduates develop unique attributes associated with our namesake, Nelson Mandela. We aspire to nurture graduates who are socially conscious, responsible global citizens who serve the public good. Because we provide a solid legal education foundation, coupled with deliberate and ongoing interaction with members of the legal profession, we believe that we are able to produce some solid returns on your investments, equipping you with the necessary attributes for a successful career in law. Many of our students graduating with the Nelson Mandela University law degree have assumed leading positions at top law firms and other businesses in South Africa and abroad, and are making a meaningful contribution to serve the public good. But this is true for practically all universities. So what makes us different, and why study law at Mandela University? Firstly, we offer practical learning possibilities to equip you to enter the working world. Thanks to PPS, we have refurbished our moot courtroom to include the latest technology to enrich the online simulated learning experiences of our students when participating in mock trials and moot court. Our law clinic, based on the Mission Vale campus, is investing in additional devices and webcams for online consultations with clients to enhance the practical learning of our students. The law clinic has also worked with one of the most reputable law firms in the country to pilot the use of the latest legal practice software. The feedback from our graduates and their employers is that they feel better equipped when it came to integrating into legal practice. Secondly, our offerings ensure that our students and staff engage in South African society. For example, our Centre for Law in Action is an internationally renowned entity that focuses on improving service delivery at various governmental levels and increasing access to justice for people in need. Our Labour, Social Security Law Unit is nationally recognized for the training conducted by its members, particularly in the area of labour law. And the faculty's Refugee Rights Centre provides key legal services to the communities in the Eastern Cape. We have recently added the Refugee Rights Law module to our mix of electives for final year students, where students observe and engage in consultations with refugee and asylum seeker clients. Thirdly, Our academic staff continue to produce an increasing body of published research work in various areas of law, and a number of colleagues are furthering their qualifications. The faculty also includes a prestigious chair in the law of the sea and development in Africa, housed at the university's unique Ocean Sciences campus. Our staff and honorary, distinguished, emeritus, adjunct, and visiting professors can share their research with undergraduate and postgraduate students using technology, and students participate in discussions about the latest developments in law during online lectures or webinars hosted by the faculty. The faculty has also fostered relationships with nationally and internationally recognized judges, advocates, attorneys, and academics to work with us to develop and inspire the next cohort of legal scholars at Nelson Mandela University. Fourthly, you can find the faculty in the Embazweni building on South Campus. This space has been beautifully refurbished over the past few years and boasts a new boardroom, reception area, and working space for our faculty's postgraduate associates. The faculty is looking forward to opening a new wing very shortly. The new wing includes a lecture theatre and will house additional offices, including spaces for adjunct and visiting professors and judges. We look forward to meeting you in person and to welcome you to this conducive space for learning and teaching and research once it is safe to do so. Lastly, we have invested in our own top students and have implemented a program where we appoint around 20 of our best graduates for a 2-year period to pursue master's or doctoral qualifications and to work with the faculty. Our postgraduate associates provide a source of peer mentorship for undergraduates and assist with the facilitation of tutorials and discussion sessions. Tinashe will share her experience with us a little later. Our law students are able to actively participate in student organizations, such as the Law Student Society and the Black Lawyers Association student chapter. We work closely with the student leaders to enrich your student experience. Tabang, our SRC rep for law, will talk directly to this later. As I conclude, I would like to draw your attention to a quote from Nelson Mandela. Open quote, "Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about what they do." Close quote. I believe that the distinguishing features of our faculty will instill the dedication and passion in you as a law student through lifelong learning experiences that liberate human potential. Thank you so much for listening. And back to you, Nikki. Mr. Khumalo, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biggs, for those wise words. And there's a saying also in my mother tongue language, which is isiZulu, when we say onendlebe magazwe, which means let those who have ears hear. So you've shared quite a lot of wisdom. And I think my 2 take-homes from your discussion this evening, Dr. Biggs, or rather the 2 points that stood out for me was, one, that of us being a dynamic university, actually a dynamic African university, and secondly, us having respected academic and support staff. And I'm sure that that goes a long way in setting us apart from the rest. Thank you so much, Dr. Biggs, for just the continued leadership, especially in such turbulent times. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker for this evening is Prof. Dion Erasmus. Prof. Erasmus is the HOD of the Criminal and Procedural Law Department here at Nelson Mandela University. He will be enlightening us on the certificates and diploma qualifications. Prof. Erasmus, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. As indicated, I am the Head of Department of Criminal and Procedural Law. So you will see in our program mix, we have basically two streams. The one stream is law enforcement qualifications, and the other stream is then law studies for legal practice. So in the law enforcement stream, we at present offer 2 qualifications with a third one which has been approved, and I will speak about that to you a bit later. So the first qualification is the Higher Certificate in Law Enforcement, and the second one is the Diploma in Law Enforcement. Now you will see these qualifications are industry-focused qualifications, and they aim to equip students with the basic tools, knowledge, and practical techniques required to perform their functions in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act and other legislation which grant powers of law enforcement to certain categories of officials. We are focusing specifically on individuals already active in non-South African police services law enforcement roles who would like to upgrade their current knowledge and skills, as well as new entrants into the law enforcement environment. And that includes a lot of school leavers. So candidates who successfully completed the Diploma in Law Enforcement will undergo a shortened period of training if they apply for and are accepted in the South African Police Services. The higher certificate, you will find the requirements in our prospectus, but very shortly, you must have a national senior certificate with maths or technical mathematics, and you must have a required minimum applicant score of 310. Now that will be explained to you when you apply. There's an online calculator where you can work out your score. Secondly, applicants with the National Senior Certificate with maths literacy must have a minimum of 325 points on their score. And then very important, because language is very important in law enforcement, you must have at least 50% for English home language or 55% for your English first additional language. Then the diploma, first of all, you must once again apply with the normal statutory requirements for diploma entry. That is a National Senior Certificate with mathematics or technical mathematics, and here you need a score of 330. Also an applicant with maths literacy requires a minimum score of 345, and then at least 55 for your English home language and 60% for English first additional language. Then for students who completed the higher certificate in law enforcement with us, they have a different entry route. They must have an average mark of at least 60% for the higher certificate. Their admission is subject to departmental selection. The reason why we say that is that because we limit the number of seats or students we take in that qualification, or if you don't have the higher certificate, you need a senior certificate with a minimum of 2 higher grade subjects and a school performance score of at least 30. Okay, so very often students ask us, what employment opportunities do we have? Obviously, no qualification can guarantee you an employment opportunity, but I can tell you for these 2 industry-based qualifications, there's quite a big scope. First of all is the South African Police Service. So you can apply once you attain one of these qualifications. You can obviously also apply to SAPS as a school leaver, but this qualification will give you that added advantage. And South African Police Services actually acknowledges our qualification, and if you are accepted, you will have a shortened training period if you finish the Diploma in Law Enforcement. There's municipal and metropolitan police forces, the South African Defence Force, other public law enforcement agencies such as the South African National Parks, Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery, and Nature Conservation, and then of course a very big employer in the law enforcement environment are private security firms. So those are possible employers you're looking at. Then a very important issue that I just want to end off with. Very often students ask us, well, what do we do after we finish the higher certificate or the diploma? So very important, the articulation route for the higher certificate is the diploma in law enforcement. And then we've also developed an advanced diploma in law enforcement, which you can do after the diploma in law enforcement. This process is still being developed, and we aim to have the diploma, advanced diploma, available for students to register in 2024. But if you're only starting with the higher certificate next year or the diploma, that qualification will definitely be on the books once you finish your diploma in law enforcement. But very important, please note that neither the higher certificate in law enforcement nor the diploma in law enforcement will give you direct access into the LLB degree, the LLB extended degree, the BCom law degree, or the BA law qualifications. Students who complete the higher certificate or the diploma in law enforcement are free to apply for the law degrees I've just mentioned, but the admission for these degrees is subject to the specific admission requirements of those qualifications. So what I'm saying to you, you will have to go and look. If you plan to do LLB later, you must see that you meet that requirements, and either the certificate or the diploma will not give you direct access. Okay, so that is then basically what I need to share with you regarding the law enforcement stream. As I say, you all know with a high crime rate in South Africa, law enforcement really is a focus area, and we do hope to see a lot of more job opportunities opening in that field. Thank you, and back to you, Nikki.
Thanks, Prof, for those wonderful words. Also, it's very interesting to me, Prof, that you began by saying good evening, because a famous African proverb says, any time that a man wakes up is his morning. So it's good to see that you you obviously didn't get up at this point in the evening. But yes, again, thank you for those valuable insights. And just an interesting fact, the higher certificates and diploma qualifications are becoming very attractive programs across universities or institutions of higher learning because of their power to promote and to develop the youth in quite a short period of time. So it is lovely to see that Mandela University is in fact keeping up with the trends. Also, I'll take this opportunity to reiterate the fact that our chat box is open for you to, jot down your questions or your comments. So if there is a particular question that came to mind based on, for example, Prof. Erasmus's presentation, please make sure that you indicate that in our chat box, and we will then get to your answers in the end. Okay, so our next speaker is Ms. Tina Hokwana, a lecturer in the Mercantile Department who specializes in labor law. This evening, she is going to talk to us about the LLB program and LLB extended programs that are offered here at Mandela University. Tina, over to you.
Thank you very much, Nicolene. Good evening, students and parents, and everyone joining us this evening. My role this evening is to provide some insight into our LLB and LLB extended programs. As our acting dean, Dr. Biggs, has mentioned, our faculty was one of the first 3 law schools in the country that received accreditation for the LLB qualification from the Council for Higher Education after the National Review of the LLB program. By joining our institution and faculty, you can proudly claim to be in one of the best programs in the country. Firstly, it is important for me to highlight that even though the LLB and LLB extended programs have different admission requirements, all LLB and LLB extended students graduate with a Bachelor of Laws LLB degree. Let's start with the LLB program. Now, this program requires a student to obtain 50% for maths and 65% for English home language or 70% for English first additional language. Unfortunately, maths literacy students are unable to register for the LLB program, LLB 4-year program. The LLB degree is a 4-year degree with 502 credits. In the first year of study, students will accumulate 114 credits. In the second year, 126 credits. In the third year, 132 credits. And lastly, in your final year, 130 credits. Let's look at the LLB extended program. Now, this program requires a student to obtain 70% for maths literacy and 60% for English home or 65% for English first additional language. Now, the LLB extended program is a 5-year program with 520 credits. Now, all law students in the LLB extended program are the same as the LLB program. There are, however, additional modules that the LLB extended students are required to register for. Now, this is the aim of the additional modules is to aid the LLB extended students in the transition from high school to university and to further provide more foundational support for the LLB extended students. Now, the additional modules include your academic learning management module with 4 credits, the career and personal success module with 4 credits, and then lastly, your entrepreneurship module with 10 credits. Students will gain 88 credits in year 1, 100 credits in year 2, 102 credits in year 3, 112 credits in year 4, and then lastly, 118 credits in their 5th year. Now, for the LLB extended students, all law modules in their 1st year and 2nd year of studies have compulsory tutorial sessions. Again, this is to provide those students with foundational support in this particular program. Both the LLB and LLB extended programs require students to choose 2 non-law modules with 12 credits each from our existing curriculum, and in their final year will be required to select at least 46 credits elective modules. Now, lastly, as a legal practitioner myself that graduated from this very institution, before I was able to join the legal profession, the Legal Practice Council, which is a body that regulates the legal profession, required a certificate from my dean confirming that I was a fit and proper person to join the legal profession. Very important. or LLB and LLB extended students will require a certificate from our dean confirming that they are a fit and proper person in order for them to be admitted to practice as a legal practitioner. What does this mean? This means that academic integrity is crucial throughout the duration of the degree. I look forward to meeting all of you next year at our first year orientation and in your second year of studies when you join me for the Law of Contract module. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tina. The one word I think that comes to mind after Tina's presentation is options. And it is my belief that options are currency. In fact, they might even be as good as money, if you ask me. So it's good to know that there is plenty of choice for you prospective students. Up next, we will hear from Advocate Lindy Kutsia. She is our acting Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Law and is part of the Mercantile Department. So we see the Mercantile Department is very well represented here this evening. Advocate Kutsia is also an expert in corporate law, law of insolvency, and street law. And as her expertise suggests, she will be giving us more information about the BA Law and BCom Law programs. Advocate Kutsia, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Nikki, thank you for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what is the introduction to the Faculty of Law. Tonight I have been asked to speak to you around two other routes that can get one to become a legal practitioner. That is, if you take the choice of doing 2 undergraduate degrees instead of just going for the LLB or the LLB extended degree, which is 1 single degree. Important to note, both of these degrees are undergraduate degrees, but in order to become a legal practitioner, you have to follow the first degree with a shortened LLB degree. Now I'm going to start to talk about the Bachelor of Arts, the BA in Law, which is a 3-year degree. In the BA Law, if we can just stop a little bit to talk about what your matric results must look like in order to qualify for entry into this. You have to have a score of 390 in total. If you do English home language, you require 65%. If you do English as a first additional language, you require 70%. And you require for mathematics 50%. Unfortunately, there's also no mathematical literacy in that one. Now, why would you opt for this? In this particular degree, you have law as a major as well as other arts modules as a major. So in your first year, you are going to have compulsory law modules that you have to do, but you will also then have a choice between 5 modules, of which you in your first year have to choose 2. So when you register, you will have the compulsory modules for law that you have no option that you have to take. And then there's the list. It's either economics, French, media and communication studies, political science, or psychology. Now, if you're considering those, then you must now remember that one of them you will at least take right up as a major to your 3rd year. So you choose 2 in the in your first year, and then in your 2nd year you have to continue with one of those right up until your 3rd year. In your 2nd year, you also get a compulsory philosophy module. So there's a bigger balance, that it's not just law that you're focusing on, it's arts and law that you would be focusing on. And then, as I say, you take your compulsory law modules in your third year, and then you take that one major right up until your third year. Should you then graduate, then you will need to do, if you want to become a legal practitioner, the 2-year LLB. That is a shortened form. Now, what happens in that particular instance is you will get credit for the law modules that you did in your first degree, and then in your 2-year LLB, you will only do the remaining prescribed modules in order to qualify with your LLB degree. The comments made by Ms. Okwana around entry into the legal profession and the certificate of good conduct, all of those will still apply to you. That is the option that you can do with when you do the BA law degree. The other option that you can do is if you do the BCom law degree. Now, in the BCom law degree, you also require a score of 390. If you do English home language, you need to get a 65 for that. If you do English first additional language, you have to get a 70% for that. And because it's BCom, it's commerce, you need a 60% for maths. Unfortunately, mathematical literacy is not taken into account. I think it's the only place where that is taken into account is where you apply LLB extended curriculum. Now, in the BCom is BCommerce, so it has a commercial focus. Here in your first year, you have to choose 2 of 3 subjects, either business management, economics, or accounting. So you do 2 of those, in addition to all the law modules, the prescribed law modules that you have to take. Now, in your second year, if you took, let's say, for example, economics and accounting in your first year, then in your second year, you are compelled to do business management. So you take that on to your first year. And then one of those modules you take right up, the same as with regard to the BA degree, is you have a commerce major that you also take right up to the end. Also, in addition, if you finish your BCom degree with law, then if you want to practice as a legal practitioner, you have to follow that up with an undergraduate 2-year LLB. Similarly to the BA, you get credit for your law modules that you did in your BCom law degree, and then you only do the remainder of the modules that is still required in order to complete an LLB. I personally lecture you from your 3rd year in corporate law, business entities, and in your final year, I'm involved in law of insolvency, business rescue and liquidations, and then I also contribute to the legal practice module that is there. I sincerely hope that you will decide to choose us and register with us, and we look forward to welcoming you. Either hopefully a physical platform, face-to-face, or an online platform, but we'll always be there to assist. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nikki.
Thank you so much, Advocate Katsia, proving to us that truly many routes lead to Rome, or in our context, many routes lead to law. Also, a huge shout out to an all-female deanery. I am pretty sure that I can hear Beyonce in the background singing "Who Run the World, Girls." So it's very lovely to see and inspiring as well for young female leaders who are looking at the pair of you and thinking, maybe I'm next. So our program at this point takes a bit of a shift to get a more personal experience from students who have been in the same position as you all. The first is Tabang, a young man from Soweto who was propelled by the injustices and poverty that he grew up seeing in his immediate environment. He came to study law, he came to study at Nelson Mandela University, hoping to work in the public sector, in service delivery, and he says he is a socialist at heart. Now he holds a BA degree in public management and says he is a sports fanatic. Also, we hear from Tinashe, who is now a PGA in the law faculty. She is doing her master's in criminal law. And she says an interesting fact about herself is that she is Zimbabwean, which makes her a very good example of what the faculty means when it says diversity in its values. And she says the most valuable lesson that she can impart to any incumbent students, she says, always carry a jacket with you, because we can experience all 4 seasons of the year in a day, or rather even in an hour. And I need to concur with Tinashe on that point. So without any further ado, please roll that tape.
Studying law at the Nelson Mandela University is the best choice you could make. One exciting thing about it is that it's by the beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the home of Nelson Mandela University. Like I said, we're literally by the beach. And at South Campus, where our law faculty is located, we are in a campus that is in a nature reserve, literally, with the animals, zebras, and so many little beautiful animals. It's such a beautiful scenery.
Everyone, my name is Snashim Titwa and I am a PGA at Nelson Mandela University. I completed my LLB with Nelson Mandela University, so it's pretty much been home for me.
I would say that my experience at Nelson Mandela University has been nothing but beautiful. I mean, from the activities that they exposed us to when we got there. This drumming session was nothing but amazing. I've never experienced something like this. One of the modules I enjoyed was moot court. The faculty's moot court is designed to look like an actual court, and we had judges presiding over our cases. So we did have the "if it pleases the court, my lord" experience. This was very enjoyable, and it taught us teamwork. The most memorable trip I had was to the morgue. It was scary, but I do not regret volunteering to go that day. It was very eye-opening, but pretty scary. I volunteered again the following year. It is not all work at the faculty. We also play dress up. This was at the Law Ball. I enjoyed this event so much so that if I could turn back the hands of time, I would do it without thinking. When you do well, the Faculty of Law makes sure to reward you for it. It was an honor to be part of the faculty's Dean's List for academic excellence. Dress up was not only for awards and evening dinners. We also dressed up to go to the law clinic, where you deal with real problems presented by people in the community. For example, divorce matters, inheritance, maintenance issues, and this was good grooming for vacation work. Studying law makes you realize that it is better to work as a team, to study as a team, because at the end we know we pass together as a team and we celebrate our wins together. This was my class, and we had the best time at Nelson Mandela University.
Good day, prospective students. My name is Mahlaule. and I'm the 2021 SRC Law Faculty Representative. And I'm here to tell you guys why you should come study with us at Nelson Mandela University. First, I would like to tell you guys why I chose to study law at Nelson Mandela University. I chose to study law at Nelson Mandela University because they're one of the universities in South Africa that have full accreditation when it comes to law. But when I arrived at Nelson Mandela University, I found that the lecturers there have an open policy, meaning you as a student can approach them at any time with any issue or any query, and they'll be willing to assist you as a student. When I arrived at Nelson Mandela University, I was not a leader, but because of the environment or because of the faculty, I was encouraged to join societies, which after my first year, I became a mentor. And then this year that we're in, which is 2021, I was elected as the SRC representative for the faculty. So it shows that there is growth under that faculty. You as a student also, when you come there, you'll be encouraged to develop or to discover yourself, because I was also encouraged to discover myself and to find who I am in society. And also, there are societies that you as a student can join. We have the Black Lawyers Association, we have the Law Society, and many more, which you as a student can join. And our campus, which is known as South Campus, is located at a nature reserve, a beautiful nature reserve that have wild animals. We have a lot of monkeys, which we are encouraged not to feed at any time. And in conclusion, I look forward to seeing you guys next year as my peers. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your colorful experiences with us here at Nelson Mandela University. Tinashe, you made it clear that this became a home away from home. And this is especially heartwarming to know, especially from the perspective of international students. We also want to thank you, Tabang, for just sharing your story, which is inspiring to us, and also reiterates the fact that our backgrounds do not have to determine our future. At this point in our program, we are going to have a Q&A session. You will recall that we had requested for you guys to populate our chat function with questions, and that this would be the point where we address them. So we have reached that lovely point, and I'm going to check to see which questions we can start with. Okay. Can you guys give me a moment to then check which questions will be answered first? Okay, awesome. Sorry about that, guys. If I had a lot of resources with me, I would have been playing music in the background so that it's a vibe and there's no awkward silence. But since we're making lemonade, it is what it is. All right, to begin with, we will start with Lindy. I'm sure you are aware which particular questions that you will be starting with. Lindy, over to you.
Thank you, Nikki. I have been asked to address the very first question on when registering next year, is it possible to switch from BA to LLB? And the answer is yes. You will register. Well, okay, let me backtrack on that just a bit. Provided you meet the entry requirements for the LLB, okay? So as long as you meet those entry requirements, I think what you will learn very soon is those matric results that you are going to work for the end of the year is going to follow you for the rest of your life. Okay, so if next year you register, whether it will not be an online registration process, then we have a form, we have a faculty office where we have faculty administration staff. Mrs. Diakitsu Billy is there. You go to her and ask for a change of degree form, and where you then apply to change from either your BA law or your BCom law to an LLB. It's also, of course, possible to change from LLB to either BCom or BA law, provided you meet the entry requirements. So that all of that is possible. I've also been asked to address the second question. What is the difference between BCom law and corporate law? Now, ladies and gentlemen, BCom law is a degree that you're going to do, and in that degree you do law modules as well as commerce modules in order to graduate with a BCom law degree. Corporate law is a module within both the LLB, the BA, and the BCom law degree. Now, corporate law is the overarching name that we give for many modules, but in essence, you're talking about the law relating to business entities, you're talking about the law relating to companies, specifically commerce. Of course, there's contracts and all those kind of things that you're also going to do, but in a sense, you don't, when we do a BA or a BCom law, yes, you do specialize with some things in BCom and BA, but with the LLB, we specialize in law. If you want to become a corporate law expert, then after your LLB, we will entice you to do a master's in corporate law or in any other module that you have done. Thank you. Back to you, Nikki.
Thank you, Lindy, for that. I would go straight to Lynn. I'm sure you're aware as well which questions that you will be addressing. So, Lynn, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. There were two questions regarding accreditation or exemptions for modules that have been done at another institution. For example, the one question says that they've done psychology at UCT, for example. So it depends on the program for which you will be registering. So if, say, for example, you are registering for the BA law, then you would obviously then get accreditation for the psychology modules, because psychology is one of the streams or the categories that you could choose in the BA law. There is a possibility to get accreditation for psychology or non-law modules on the LLB, as there are two non-law 12 credit-bearing modules that all students are required to do in the LLB, and so you would also be able to get accreditation for that, provided that there is at least an 80% similarity between the modules that we present at Nelson Mandela University and the modules that are presented at another institution. So there are rules regarding the accreditation process that the institution follows, and of course the Faculty of Law needs to abide by those rules. And if you then make an application for exemption, you've got to provide all the contents, the information relating to the module, the marks that you obtained, and then submit your application to the faculty. And then the faculty will consider if there's at least an 80% similarity between the modules. I'm just going to go down to further questions, if you don't mind. So just bear with me while I'm scrolling along. There's a question there about which fields can I go into if I studied LLB. Well, okay, you're asking the wrong people, because as far as I'm concerned, and coming from the role as the acting dean, of course, I'm going to say law is a life skill. You know, you can actually do anything with a law degree because it gives you such great foundational skills and you know, just a great sense of various aspects in all spheres of life. But if we specifically talk about law, within LLB, you can practice law, you can become a legal practitioner. Traditionally, the terminology that was used was an attorney and an advocate, or a prosecutor or a legal advisor. But now we talk about legal practitioners. It's a general concept that we use, but obviously there are different types of legal practitioners for different roles that you play. You know, the traditional attorney is the kind of person that would consult with the general public about various aspects, legal concerns that a client would have. A lot of attorneys specialize in various aspects of the law. For example, criminal law or family law or labor law, or you name it, corporate law. And then the advocates are traditionally those that specialize in litigation. You know, this is very roughly speaking. I mean, there's so much more that everybody does, but the advocates, they would specialize in litigation and special drafting of opinions and those kind of things. So they would do a lot of court work. And then, of course, there's the National Prosecuting Authority, prosecutors, and you know, state attorneys and state legal advisors. And there's just such a wide array of careers that you can go into with an LLB degree. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit more, and then I'm going to hand over to Dion, but I just want to, or Professor Erasmus. There's a question there. Is it possible to change from the extended program to the LLB? Ordinarily, that is not possible. It is only possible if you meet the requirements of the LLB degree. You cannot go from the LLB extended to the LLB if you don't meet the requirements of the LLB, because there are two different admission requirements. The LLB extended has different admission requirements. It has a 385 admission score, with maths literacy at 70%, or mathematics at 45%, and English home language 60%, and English first additional language at 65%. Whereas the LLB and the BA law and the BCom law, we're looking at a 50% for maths straight, and a 65% for English home language, and a 70% for English first additional. So there's a difference there. So if you don't meet the admission requirements for the LLB, then you cannot make that change. And then if I look at the question with regard to a 48% for maths, the system, when you're applying online, it will automatically only give you access to the qualifications for which you directly qualify. So if you don't have 50% for maths, then the LLB will not pop up on your online application process. But if you've got a 48% for maths, the LLB extended will pop up for your online application process. So you would be able to apply, but obviously the application process for 2022 is currently, I think it actually opened at the beginning of May, and it could actually close soon. And unfortunately, I think most of our programs are already full. So your question could relate to 2023. And then I'm just wanting to check time. I know that we are trying to respond to questions in the chat. And then I did answer the question regarding whether it's possible to apply at Nelson Mandela University after doing a BCom law at another private institution. Obviously, as we look at a culmination of factors, we look at your matric results, we look at your academic performance at the private institution, and then so you would need to submit all of those. We have seen a lot of those kind of applications being granted in the recent years. Will it be able to do LLB extended program with maths literacy with 70%? Yes, maths literacy 70% is the admission requirement. And then I think Ms. Hokwana did answer the difference between what is the difference between LLB undergraduate and the LLB extended program. Well, it's definitely the admission requirements, and the extended program is basically what it does is it just provides the students with a little bit more time in which to do the credits. And she explained that the LLB has 502 credits and the LLB extended has 520 credits. The LLB is over 4 years and the LLB extended is over 5 years, and it's just a little bit more spread out and scaffolded and progressively developed from each year on year. So that there's and there are also additional support given to the students on the LLB extended program. And then I'm just going to skim through here. There's a question, what are the kinds of LLB degrees? Well, there's only one LLB degree, and that's the Bachelor of Laws. Yes, the extended program is there, but at the end of the day, when you graduate, your certificate will not say LLB extended. Your certificate will say LLB, and that is all that is required. It doesn't. There's no distinction thereafter. So there's only one LLB. Okay, and then with the admission processes, please do submit all information that you have. If you studied anything else at another tertiary institution, please submit that to the admissions office so that that can be taken into consideration, because we look at a combination of all factors together. And then what percentage of mathematics is required to qualify for LLB? For LLB, it's 50%, and for LLB extended, it is 45%. And for the LLB, we do not accept math literacy students, but for the LLB extended, we accept math literacy students with a minimum of 70% for math literacy. And then, will the registration be online or will it be in person? Well, we would love for it to be in person. We would love to see all of you. We'd love to meet all of you. But we obviously need to just, be aware of the circumstances regarding the pandemic. And but at this stage, all registrations are done online. But support regarding the registration process is normally done on a face-to-face basis. But hopefully next year we could have a mask-to-mask process for assistance there. I'm just quickly skimming through. We've already spoken about changing a BCom law to a BA law, so we've dealt with that one. With the paralegal degree, it's unfortunately there's those we would need to consider, but unfortunately, at this stage, I'm not sure if there would be any modules that we'd be able to be accredited with a paralegal degree, because it would depend on the NQF level. All those kind of factors are taken into consideration. The performance of the students in the paralegal degree, the level of the modules and the paralegal degree, but generally speaking, the paralegal degree is at a different NQF level to the LLB degree. So, and then that would probably not be possible to get any accreditation for modules for paralegal degree. Yes, the LLB extended program is 5 years, and the LLB is 4 years. And we've already answered that one. We're not sure about whether we'd be able to attend contact lessons. We'd love to, and we are hoping that we will be able to. And on that score, I know that we are all lining up as the lecturers to have our vaccinations. And some of us have already had 2 vaccinations, and the rest of us are waiting to have our second vaccination. And the Department of Health will be announcing for those persons under the age of 35 to register for vaccinations on the 1st of September. So the more people that are vaccinated, the better for the country, so that we can actually eradicate this pandemic. And hopefully we will be able to have face-to-face lectures, but we will obviously keep everybody informed all the time, constantly on Instagram, Facebook pages, those kind of things. Okay, and then the costing for the LLB program, when you go onto the institution's website, you will be able to put in estimated costs, and that there's an automatic calculation there. So just go into www.mandela.ac.za and have a look there. You'll be able to calculate the costs related to the LLB. How much of the LLB is practical and theoretical? Remember that we are a university where most of the lecturing and learning and teaching processes are theoretical, but of course we do include a vast amount of practical application. We have modules where we have specific practical experiences for the students, like the moot court module, the legal practice module, the legal skills module, the refugee rights module. There's the law of evidence, civil procedure, criminal procedure, where we bring in practical application. So, but of course, all of the practical application needs to be founded on sound theoretical knowledge. And then I think some of these have all been answered. There are quite a few here. I'm not too sure how we're doing for time. So just let me know if there are any other questions that I need to address. I see there are answers. I'm not going to answer those that have already been responded to in the chat. Yes, with regard to for application purposes, what happens, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of this, but as soon as the matric results are available, they actually are fed to the universities before they actually get fed to the schools. So the university's systems automatically receive the results from the Department of Higher Education. The Department of Basic Education, and the matric results are fed into the system. And then you would need to then provide evidence of your matric results directly to the institution when required. If I fail a subject to submit, if I fail to submit my academic record and certificate, will my application be considered? Unfortunately, you have to provide all of that information. We require the academic record and certificate of good conduct in order to consider your application. The required APS score, we don't work with an APS score. We work with the admission score. So what we do there is we take the percentage that you get for each of your modules, and depending on what quintile schooling you have been enrolled in, and then your overall average of all your, not average, but your accumulated result has to be above 385 for LLB extended and 390 for the BA law or the BCom law. Okay, I'm just looking here quickly for the ones that don't have answers. We've responded to that. Okay, we've responded to that. Okay. Can you get a PhD in law? Yes. There are a few of us that have a PhD in law in the faculty, and there are a few of us that are working on the PhD. We don't call it a PhD, we actually call it an LLD. It's a Doctorate of Laws, and most of your lecturers have doctorates in law. And then, okay, we've already answered some of these questions. We've spoken about. Well, if you have any queries regarding the admission process, please contact the admissions office. There is an email address that is available on the university, the institutional website, and then they will announce what information is required. And we are looking at running out of time, so I'm going to quickly hand over to Professor Erasmus, and who will be able to answer the questions that have been posed regarding the higher certificates. And then thereafter, I think we will take the other questions in the chat and publish the answers to those on our social media platforms. So thank you very much to everybody that has been attending. I will hand over to Prof. Erasmus and to answer the other questions. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Biggs. Okay, just shortly, I've answered most of the questions you will see in the Q&A column. I'm just going to highlight the most important ones because it might be of interest to the other students. The one question was, can the higher certificate help me get into the diploma or a degree in criminal justice? Well, yes. In the diploma, if you have a 60% average, for all other degrees, as I've said, I was going to look at the requirements for that specific degree and see if you meet them, okay? Then another one, can I study law at UNISA after doing the higher certificate? Basically the same answer. You must go to the UNISA website, see what their requirements for the LLB are, because it differs from university to university, and then see if you comply with those requirements. Then another question, after I completed my higher certificate, what else can I do? So that is what I refer to as your articulation routes. If you have a 60% average for the higher certificate in law enforcement at NMU, you will automatically be entered into a pool of students who will be considered for entry into the diploma in law enforcement, and their applicants will be allowed on academic merit because we have a limited number of seats available at this stage. And then after that, when it has been registered, you can proceed to the advanced diploma in law enforcement. Another question is, what doors will it open for me? Suppose that pertains to jobs. As I pointed out, one advantage is that the South African police services have already recognized our diploma in law enforcement, and should you Police Academy to become a police officer and to have our high certificate, you will enter into the fast track stream and you will have a shortened training period. I can just also mention that myself and Professor Henny van As are constantly in discussions with municipal law enforcement agencies, the Department of Forestry and Fisheries, because we are aiming to get a situation where people can only apply for those jobs if they do have the higher certificate or the diploma, and that is an ongoing process. High certificate, can you do that if you only have maths literacy? As I pointed out, yes, but your application score will then be a bit higher, namely 325. Then a very interesting question, the higher certificate, is it full-time lectures? Well, the higher certificate, because we offer it to people already in law enforcement jobs and to full-time students, is presented on a block release. So what that means, let's say you normally would have about 5 modules per semester. Let's take in the higher certificate. So that would mean for each of your modules, you will have a 2-week block session. Okay, so the first week will normally be full days of lectures, tutorials, group activities, etc., which is presented when we do that on campus. So you will be on campus. And the second week we use for our assessments and practical exercises, etc. Once again, that will be on campus. So then you might have, say, 2 weeks where there won't be any lectures physically on campus or activity on campus, but then that time you will use to do self-study or to do certain preparation for your assessment, okay? And then there was one final question that I think I should just expand on. Do we accept adult learners? Most definitely, yes, specifically in the law enforcement stream, because we have a lot of students here who are already employed in SAPS or any other law enforcement agency, and they would like to better their qualifications for promotion purposes. We also keep a certain amount of seats available for them. They can apply, and obviously the block release works excellently there, because what you do is you would put in study leave or leave at your employer and you will attend the lectures. At this stage, as Dr. Bix has indicated, all our lectures are still online, but I can tell you we are also looking forward to face-to-face and even mass-to-mass lecturing, because we really miss the interaction. I hope I answered the questions. I also answered most of the questions individually. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you taking the time to share your questions with us. I would like to extend a special thank you to my colleagues for not just only organizing this evening's event, but also for answering these questions. We have reached the end of our program, unfortunately. Please contact us though on our Facebook page at Nelson Mandela University Faculty of Law. If you have any further questions, or if there are questions that we did not get to address this evening, do drop us an inbox and we will surely get back to you. It's been a pleasure hosting you this evening, and we hope to see you next year when we welcome you to Mandela University, where our blood is yellow and blue. From myself, Nicolene, and my colleagues, it is thank you and good night.